Welcome into a holly jolly Tennessee Pro Football podcast for our producer Mark Rogers and the Titan insider Terry McCormick. I'm Blaine Kellar. The Titans were home winners for the first time in 412 days, Terry, for the first time since November 3rd, 2024, beating the depleted Kansas City Chiefs 26-9.
Yeah, the 412 days of Christmas there. But the Titans were able to get it done with that 26-9 victory. They got an extra gift when Gardner Minshew was knocked out of the ball game, sadly, for the Chiefs. And they were already down Patrick Mahomes, and their offensive line was beaten up. And it was Chris Oladokun who finished up the game for the Chiefs and his first real measurable action of NFL play, and the results were predictable and in the Titans' favor.
Most of what happened to the Chiefs yesterday, what looked like what's happened for the Titans in the last 2 years, a refreshing sight to see it the other way. The Titans win 26-9. Cam Ward arguably had his best day as a rookie. Tony Pollard and Jeffery Simmons continued to show their success late in the season. We're going to get into all of that ahead. But first, let me tell you about our friends at the Mint Gaming Hall. And Circus Sports, the largest sportsbook in Kentucky, which is now open for business at the Mint Gaming Hall in Franklin, Kentucky, with an 80-foot sportsbook screen and stadium-style seating. The Mint is the place to be to watch the rest of this NFL season, the NBA season, and the NHL season, whatever you want to see sports-wise. The Mint has it for you. Circus Sports and the Mint are proud sponsors of our show. You're watching the Tennessee Pro Football Podcast on Main Street Media Television.
The winning just got closer. All new sportsbook, the latest gaming machines, live horse racing, and more. The Mint Gaming Hall, Kentucky Downs.
Winning just got closer.
When I think of Delta Dental now, it's really their core values. It's the volunteerism, it's the giving back.
Delta Dental gives us 10,000 toothbrushes. So twice a year, we have these children that are going home with food that may not have weekend food, and they're also getting a toothbrush.
The best partners are the ones that truly do impact the community together, and I don't think there's a better example of that than our partnership with Delta Dental.
He shoots, and he scores!
Welcome to the Omni Nashville Hotel. Urban elegance with a vintage touch. Our 800-room hotel opened up in the fall of 2013 with 746 guest rooms and 54 suites.
This holiday season, the largest lantern festival in the country returns to Nashville Zoo. Experience more than 1,000 all-new handcrafted lanterns, towering creatures, magical worlds, and a North Pole village. At the center of it all, the Smashville Ice Rink. Welcome back to Zoolumination at Nashville Zoo. Bigger, brighter, and better than ever.
Back in on the Tennessee Pro Football Podcast, where the Titans win 26-9 against the Kansas City Chiefs. Let's start, Terry, with our Talk Weekly on Cam Ward. Something that we've talked about in recent weeks on the show is needing to see that standout signature game out of Cam Ward. And we may have seen it this Sunday, just not in the way that we thought.
Yeah, I mean, I think, when you talk about signature games and signature wins, which we've discussed, I talked about it last week in my report from San Francisco. A lot of people think of the way Caleb Williams pulled out the victory for the Chicago Bears Saturday night against Green Bay. But there are different ways to do it, and Cam Ward was very efficient yesterday. And he made 3 or 4 big-time throws and looked really, really good on the drive that opened the second half. Titans went 75 yards in 6 plays. He was in 7 plays. He was 6 of 7 for 69 yards on that drive. And that is certainly something that is encouraging for the way that he played, more than just the numbers. It was the way he looked. He was poised in the pocket, bought time when he had to, and for the most part made good decisions with the football.
I thought that escapability, we've seen it in flashes this year, but against the blitz with the Chiefs yesterday, that was where Cam Ward looked his best. That ability to just slip out of the pocket. He's not known as a rusher, but he had an ability to run out of that pocket consistently yesterday and make some high-level throws. One of those being a big gain on that drive you mentioned, both to Alec Iomanner and Chimdike.
Yeah, and the throw to DK was especially impressive. I thought, he rolled to his left, which is not necessarily his strength. He would prefer to roll to the right, but he rolled to his left and found Iomanner throwing back across his body, fired a strike, and hit him right there on the sideline as DK got both feet down, got out of bounds, and set up. I think it was a 1st and goal situation, or if not, at least in the deep red zone.
Mm-hmm. Both of those rookies, the rookie class played well across the board. Cam Ward yesterday, 21 of 28 for 228 yards and 2 touchdowns. Really encouraged by this streak of multi-touchdown games. It's a bit of a concerning sight that just a few weeks ago, Cam Ward hadn't had this all year long. Was it the Cleveland game that it was his first multi-touchdown game of the year, and now he's hit a streak of that?
Yes, it was. And I think as we transition into the next thing we want to talk about regarding yesterday's game and what the Titans have done, I think there's a direct correlation between the fact that he's had 2 touchdown passes in each of the last 3 games, and Tony Pollard and the run game have really taken flight here over the last 3 games. Pollard, who was kind of given up for dead and probably was going to be a cap cut a month ago, now suddenly is 51 yards shy of 1,000 after his 3rd straight 100-yard rushing game. And that rushing attack is making the Titans a more balanced offense. It's keeping them out of the 3rd and 8, 3rd and 12 situations that had plagued them all year. They say that a good running game is a young quarterback's best friend, and that's absolutely true. But for the first 12 games of the year, the Titans seemed determined to defy that. And as a result, Cam Ward still has the 5th most passing attempts in the NFL this year, Blaine. The 5th most from a rookie. And he's going to end up at least number 4 because Patrick Mahomes is at number 4 and he's lost for the season. So he's going to end up in the top 4 in passing attempts. That's an indictment of the way the Titans were trying to do things and the failings that they had through the first 12 games of the week. It's too late to salvage the season, but they have finally rectified that with Tony Pollard and the run game and much better play from the O-line.
Yeah, talk about an about face from Tony Pollard here. Really struggled in November and the weeks before, as did the entire team. But you talk about this month of December for Tony Pollard, starting in Cleveland with 161 rushing yards, a career high for him. Then going to San Francisco, having 104 yards on just 14 carries. That was the first time as a Titan that he had back-to-back 100-yard rushing games. Now with 102 yards yesterday, it's the first time in his NFL career he's had 3 straight century mark games at running back. Just an incredible turnaround for him and from the offensive line, because it goes hand in hand.
It does. And, and it's weird, to think about it. The offensive line has actually performed better since Bill Callahan, who was the offensive line guru, has left. I don't know that I have an explanation for that, but for some way or somehow, Mike McCoy and then the lieutenants that Bill Callahan had, Scott Fuchs, whose son you covered at Beach High School,
yeah,
and Matt Jones have certainly gotten through to this group. And I think it helps too that Peter Skoronski has developed. I think it's helped that J.C. Latham is playing better, appears healthier now. And Dan Moore has leveled out a little bit here of late. So it feels like that this line is finally starting to gel, even though it's taken 3 months to do so.
And also the guys behind them, those depth pieces that were question marks at the start of the year, always been a question mark since I've covered the team for 3 years now, steadied the ship when they needed to. Corey Levin, we've brought up consistently on this show. Ali Udo as that additional blocker along the offensive line has performed well when they bring him on to those sets. The interesting thing about Tony Pollard yesterday is that the Titans coaching staff took him off the field for a long stretch of time. In the second quarter, he was kind of phased out of the rushing attack because Tajay Spears was running it well. They wanted to give Kalel Mullings and Julius Chestnut snaps late in the second quarter. But Tony comes back out in the second half and still continues to put up a solid performance just as he has in previous weeks.
Yeah, it was kind of an interesting move there. I guess they have determined that Kalel Mullings needs to be the short yardage back. Julius Chestnut was lined up as a fullback on one of those plays where he got his carry and actually picked up the first down thanks to a generous spot. But, you mentioned Tajay Spears. Tajay Spears had a pretty solid game yesterday in that support role. He not only had, I think it was 48 yards rushing or somewhere thereabouts. I believe he also had a nice catch on a screen pass and turned that into a 30-plus yard gain. So a nice little effort from Tajay Spears as the support to Tony Pollard in the run game.
So we mentioned 412 days since the Titans' last win, that one coming in overtime in 2024 against the New England Patriots. Flirting with an NFL record, almost the Titans did. That 11-game losing streak, 3 shy of the NFL record set by the Cowboys and St. Louis Rams years ago. I bring this up because in the locker room, the questions were about this long losing streak and about the rookie class and Mike McCoy getting their first home win at Nissan Stadium. How much, Terry, in your experience, does winning and winning at home and things like that matter to a young player? How beneficial or important can that be, if at all?
Well, I don't know how much I buy season-to-season carryover because, every offseason there's change. You're going to purge at least 25 to 30% of your roster. I would say a good 50 to 60% of this roster might be purged in the offseason, given that there's going to be a new coaching staff coming in, and you've got, players on expiring contracts. You've got guys like Calvin Ridley and L'Jarius Sneed who are obvious cap cut candidates. So they're going to be multiple changes. But at the same time, the Cam Wards, the Chimere Dikes, the Gunnar Helms of the world need to learn how to win football games. And it goes beyond that. J.C. Latham needs to learn how to win at this level. Cedric Gray, Peter Skoronski, they've been part of this long process of going through the throes of losing for 2 and 3 years. Some of these guys have, where the Titans have bottomed out. And it's good for them to experience what it feels like and what it takes to finish on the winning side of a game, and then to start to string some of that together. So even though I don't know that there's a lot of carryover from season to season, there is some benefit to your players learning how to win and learning how to handle success, as opposed to always having to learn how to deal with failure.
Yeah, that confidence factor got brought up a lot in the Titans locker room yesterday, but I'm kind of with you in the thought that does it really carry over from season to season? These players have had success winning at the college level, and for guys like Cam Ward or Chimere Dike who are setting franchise and team records and, at this point of the year playing their best ball individually, they have confidence from those moments. Cedric Gray, with his performance this season as a standout linebacker, getting his first opportunity substantially at starting, those guys get that confidence from their individual play. And I know that, you bring up that, seeing how to win matters, but I don't know if I'm with you. I don't know if I buy into the confidence of winning whenever you have confidence in your individual performance.
Well, there are two different kinds of confidence here. There's the confidence in your individual ability, and pretty much every player that puts on a uniform at that level has confidence, or they wouldn't be there because they have made it to the highest level of football. Now, the success rate obviously varies from player to player. And, every player deals with failure and success in their own way. But there's also this confidence that comes within a team. A lot of times it emanates from the coaching staff. A lot of times it just emanates from the culture in the locker room. And you see the players who have experienced winning, the Jeffery Simmonses of the world, they know what it takes to win. They know what the locker room culture needs to look like, because it's not just about confidence in yourself. It's confidence in the guy next to you that he's going to get his job done so that you can get your job done. It's confidence in the coaches, in the play calls, in the execution of that, in the game plan put together throughout the week. So it is a totality that creates that culture and confidence. And that's a lot of what the Titans have been lacking, in my opinion, over this streak where everything has kind of eroded down to nothing.
Bring up Jeffery Simmons, and we'll segue closer to our second break and our Titans stock report after this. Had the safety yesterday, what he believed to be the first safety in his career, starting the scoring in what started as a very slow game in the second quarter. Also had 2 pass deflections and 2 tackles for loss by the second quarter. Also interesting to note there at the end, him coming on the goal line and not being counted as reporting as eligible, even though he clearly showed coming onto the field and showed in the press conference how he was reporting as eligible. It's hard not to bring up Jeffery Simmons more than what we have, but that's just because of how high of a level he's playing at this point in his career.
Yes, he is, he's your guy batting 350 on a last place team. That's exactly what he is, because he is absolutely crushing it this year in all aspects of the game. If you're going to have any criticism at all of Jeff, he's gotten a couple of ticky-tack penalties that you wouldn't want to have, but I can't dock him too much for that, because he has been outstanding. And not only has he been outstanding on the field, he has grown so much as a leader and a spokesman for this team. Last year, I'm just going to be honest with you, last year, I don't think he was ready for that spokesman role that comes with being a team captain and being a team leader. But this year, he has exhibited that in spades, because he has really stepped up to the plate and has really been the voice of this locker room for pretty much all of the season. And I think that if you're a Titans fan, and I know us in the media, we appreciate that as well. But if you're a Titans fan, the growth that he has had on and off the field this season, I think, is probably the most impressive addition to his game, in addition to how well he is playing on the field.
Yeah, he's really backed it up. Any other talking points or thoughts that you wanted to share before we head to our second break, Terry?
Yeah, I'll address the debacle as far as Simmons reporting eligible there. The NFL really needs to do something to address that. I mean, maybe make it reviewable by challenge. You know what I'm saying? Because it was obvious that Simmons raised his hand, and it in this game didn't matter as much as games that have playoff implications and things like that. Think back last year, how much that Dallas-Detroit game where the officials blew that. Think how much that impacted just on the playoff seeding a year ago in the NFC. So I think if the competition committee, hey, if you're watching this podcast, think about reviewing that next year and making that reviewable, because it's costing teams points.
Yeah, it took away a Tony Pollard touchdown there at the end. Titans still got a field goal. Titans still won 26-9 against the Kansas City Chiefs. Their draft stock did fall from the third place team to the fifth in the draft order. Titans did pick up their third win of the year, though. When we come back, we'll close out with our Titans stock report on the Tennessee Pro Football Podcast, brought to you by Main Street Media Television.
The winning just got closer. All new Sportsbook, the latest gaming machines, live horse racing, and more. The Mid Gaming Hall, Kentucky Downs.
Winning just got closer. He shoots, and he scores!
Hi, I'm Joseph Burgoyne, Chef Tornado of the Omni Nashville Hotel. Come see us at Kitchen Notes.
This holiday season, the largest lantern festival in the country returns to Nashville Zoo. Experience more than 1,000 all-new handcrafted lanterns, towering creatures, magical worlds, and a North Pole village. At the center of it all, the Smashville Ice Rink. Welcome back to Zoolumination at Nashville Zoo. Bigger, brighter, and better than ever.
What I think of Delta Dental now, it's really their core values. It's the volunteerism, it's the giving back.
Delta Dental gives us 10,000 toothbrushes. So twice a year, we have these children that are going home with food that may not have weekend food, and they're also getting a toothbrush.
The best partners are the ones that truly do impact the community together, and I don't think there's a better example of that than our partnership with Delta Dental.
Our Titans stock report is in a giving mood this week, at least. For the holiday season, we have no stock downs. We talked about it before the show. Terry said, Blaine, do you have any stock downs? I couldn't think of one. Terry, it was just too good of a game. We had to take the positives this week.
Absolutely. Everybody gets a stock up, and we'll hit on some individuals that we want to highlight there. And obviously, I'm going to put Cam Ward at the top of the list. I feel like I've been a little hard on Cam in terms of what I've wanted to see from him this year at times, because after all, he is the first overall pick in the draft, and to whom much is given, much is expected. And Cam Ward delivered yesterday. First time really all season long that I felt like that start to finish, Cam Ward was in control of this offense, was in control of how he played, and elevated the Tennessee Titans offense. Big stock up to Cam Ward for this week.
Going to quickly give a shout out once again to our sponsor, the Mint Gaming Hall, and all of its amenities that you can check out this holiday season. Spring Hill Suites, Iron Steakhouse. You can look at the world-class horse race track. Be sure to check it out a few times throughout the year to see some of the top horse racing around. Just north of Nashville off I-65 North, just past Portland, the Mint Gaming Hall. Thank you to them for sponsoring our show. How about Jalen Harrell, contributing to 4 sacks in the last 6 games? This was a guy who's a late round draft pick that impressed in his rookie preseason as an edge rusher. Even back then, the Titans needed someone to contribute in that group. We're starting to see more of what we saw in the preseason in 24 right now, Terry.
Yeah, I think so. I think Jalen Harrell has been one of those guys who's kind of flown under the radar. But as he's gotten more snaps here late in the season, he's starting to make the most of it. I'll go with one more stock up, and you mentioned him earlier, having set a kick return record for the franchise rookie Chimere Dike. We know all about his return exploits, but he atoned for an egregious drop last week against the 49ers with a couple of nice catches yesterday for Cam Ward. So a big stock up for Chim Dike.
So something that I wanted to bring up from Jim Wyatt this morning, that Chimere Dike is the first player since, I want to say, Tyreek Hill and Dez Bryant with 4 or more touchdown receptions and 2 or more punt return touchdowns. Pretty elite company to be with there. And it's felt like Terry hasn't really hit a rookie wall. And if he hasn't in multiple phases. You know, if he's hit a rookie wall on special teams, he's catching a touchdown and putting up a good receiving performance. And then vice versa, offensively, he's returning a touchdown off a punt or a kick return. He's done well to contribute pretty much every week in a certain phase.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. There have been a couple of games where he'd only have 1 or 2 catches, only have, 10 to 15 yards receiving. But in those games, he set the Titans up with good field position with his return ability. And then, of course, the 2 touchdowns on return are certainly worth noting as huge plays this season for a struggling team that really needed 3 months up until yesterday to find its offensive identity and really exploit that. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, he probably has the most touchdown passes of anyone in the Titans receiving corps with 4. Is that correct?
Yeah, I do think that's right. I'd have to search it up here briefly, but I believe so. I mean, I think we were looking at it in the press box yesterday. Chikakonkwo was the leading receiver going into this week's game based on yardage, and I'd have to think that Chim Dike, it's hard to think of another Titans player. I don't know, maybe some people will blow up the comments as we're posting this out that we're forgetting someone here, but I think you could give a trending stock up to the Titans rookie class and how they've played in recent weeks, especially with that, we mentioned the rookie wall kind of happening to a lot of first-year players. They seem to be breaking out of that and putting up a pretty good trending up performance toward the end of the year.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I have to make one note. If there's going to be a stock down, it's certainly not for performance, but it appears that rookie Marcus Harris may have been lost yesterday.
Yes,
with the
absolutely.
knee. And he was really starting to come on as a guy who played in that nickel role and actually had played outside on the edge when they were short at outside cornerbacks while Jalen Armour Davis was on the sideline. So certainly, a young man that, had started to make the most of his opportunities, as you mentioned, as a lot of these other rookies, really, except for Jackson Slater, every rookie on this team has made a nice contribution at some point or other this season, with some of them, obviously, Cam Ward, Chim Dike, and Gunnar Helm being at the top of the list, contributing pretty consistently.
Yeah, Denard Wilson will be tasked once again with shifting that secondary a little bit. Close out with this stat, Terry. We talked about Chim Dike being the leading Titans receiver with regards to touchdowns. The next one's Alec Iomanner with 3. The next is Gunnar Helm with 2. So this Titans rookie class, along with Cam Ward, performing well. And the Titans have won to go into the holiday season 26-9 against the Kansas City Chiefs. Thank you for tuning in to the Tennessee Pro Football Podcast. Stay tuned to our coverage this week as we get ready for the Titans and Saints. Big one coming between Cam Ward and Tyler Shuck. Stay tuned.